you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. You have faith in God, have faith also in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If there were not, would I have told you that I am going to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back again and take you to myself, so that where I am, you also may be. Where I am going, you know the way." Thomas said to him, "Master, we do not know where you're going. How can we know the way?" Jesus said to him, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you know me, then you will also know my Father. From now on, you do know him and have seen him." Philip said to him, "Master, show us the Father, and that will be enough for us." Jesus said to him, "Have I been with you for so long a time, and you still do not know me, Philip? Whoever has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, 'Show us the Father'? Do you not believe that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me? The words that I speak to you, I do not speak on my own. The Father who dwells in me is doing his works. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. Or else, believe because of the works themselves. Amen, amen, I say to you, whoever believes in me will do the works that I do, and will do greater ones than these, because I am going to the Father." The Gospel of the Lord. My brothers and sisters, what a joy, what a blessing as we continue our Easter journey, this fifth Sunday of Easter. Our deacon here, Deacon Jesse, when he hears a gospel that begins, "Jesus told his disciples," he always has, and to us, as the message is the same. He is the way, the truth, and the life. No one goes to the Father except through him. And if we have seen him, we have seen the Father. He's preparing a place for us. So it's the same message for us. And as Christians, we're called to proclaim that every day, at all times, to all people, doesn't matter who they are. And to be open to do that in the world that we live. And we live in a world that little by little, we are removing part of what should be humane, human-like, relational-like, sharing-like. We begin to see many signs of it's better just to recuse ourselves, just to be on the sidelines. And the message of Christ is not to do that, to remain involved, to remain part of who we're called to be as we proclaim that truth. I have played basketball since I was like 10 years old. And I still, once in a while, not organized, but once in a while, even with some of our parishioners, we go out to shoot some hoops and to play. It's a sport that I like. But I remember sometimes we would have a great game, sometimes we would have a lousy game. And that was part of playing the sport. And sometimes you would hear coaches telling you, don't try to do too much. Let the game come to you. That's kind of like the phrase. In other words, we also hear, you take what they give you. So I think it applies to any sport. When you try to do too much, when you're trying to be too intense, you tend to mess up more. And I think there's an application to the Christian life in that. I think that as Christians, we are, yes, sometimes called to be proactive and do certain things, but a lot of times it's just allowing the game to come to you. There are plenty of opportunities in life. The last couple of weekends, we've been talking about the works of mercy. And we talked about the corporal works of mercy, the spiritual works of mercy. You can look those up. I memorized them, so now I know them, all 14 of them. But I'm not going to belabor that and start giving them to you again. But I was thinking to myself, the whole point of the works of mercy is not to start looking for things to do. We don't have to do that. You just wait, and you will have plenty of opportunities to be able to get engaged in those works of mercy, of reaching out to people, of consoling those who need consolation, of being able to help others in their journey, whether it's physical needs, spiritual needs, emotional needs. That's part of life. But we don't have to be looking for that. The Lord is not saying, well, go out and start getting some, good reports so that you can check all the things you need to do. But He's just saying, be who you're supposed to be, and all those opportunities will come your way. And I say that in light of the first reading today. First reading from the Acts of the Apostles. There's a problem. And this reading is interesting because it's the basis for the diaconate. We usually use it in ordinations to the diaconate, the 7 men that were chosen to have their hands of the apostles imposed on them, the sign of ordination, is used in ordination to the diaconate. But there's a lot more going on there than meets the eye. And we may miss some things because we don't understand the terms sometimes. There is a problem. They are complaining. Who? The Hellenists are complaining against the Hebrews. Amazing, huh? 2,000 years ago, and already there were people complaining. You think that that's just a new thing? No, there have been complaints always. And why were they complaining? Because they couldn't understand each other. Hellenists are Greeks. Hebrews are Jewish. And basically, they weren't mixing well. They were having a hard time because there was a language barrier. They couldn't understand. So the Hellenists, namely the Greeks, are saying, our widows are not being taken care of. They're not being listened to. They're not being ministered to. And if you notice, the solution of the apostles could have been, well, guess what? You take care of them. Do your thing, we'll do our thing. They don't do that. They come up with a very wise decision that says, choose some from your community, and we will ordain them, and we will put them to work so that they can do that work as we concentrate with prayer and preaching. And they could have said, let's divide, let's move apart, but that's not what they do. They find the problem coming to them, and they find a very wise solution. And they do what God would have wanted them to do to keep that community together. And I think that that is a great image for how things come to us. We have a tendency today to recuse ourselves, to kind of be on the sideline. Last night I was talking to a group of young people. They've been going out to talk, to minister, to share about their faith. And they were saying how terrified they were to do this. A lot of those young people, they were afraid. Because why? Because they can be rejected. They can be criticized. They can be laughed at. We don't like that. And they struggle. I was telling them, the number one fear in the world is public speaking. Amazing. Public speaking, people are more afraid of public speaking than death, than dying. That's an amazing thing, because you don't want to face that reality, and yet public speaking, being in the presence of others, being able to share what you believe, is terrifying. can be. You can get nervous. And I was talking to them, that's precisely what you have to fight against, because we live in a world that they are pushing you kind of like not to be involved, stay on the sidelines, anything that we see, even social media. People can be very social in social media because they can hide behind a computer and they can write anything they want, but they wouldn't be willing to face anybody. And that's kind of a sign of the times. Artificial intelligence, which is a big topic today, that's a reality. That's happening. And there may come a time when you go to McDonald's and a robot is going to take your order, a robot is going to prepare your meal, and a robot is going to give you the food. Not advertising McDonald's here. I won't do that. But that's a reality. We're facing that. And why? Why are we facing that? I have two, this is my unprofessional experience or unprofessional theory. Healthcare is way up there. Cost for healthcare is very high. So if you're an employer and you have to pay healthcare for your employees, that's tough. It's very expensive. So a robot, you may pay maintenance, but a robot doesn't go to a hospital. You don't have to worry about that. You can just keep up with their mechanisms and that will be fine. And that's one. But the second reason is worse, because people are complicated. It's not easy to deal with people. Look at the first meeting. There were complaints, there were fighting, we were having problems. And the apostles, with the grace of God, with the wisdom that God gives, find a wonderful solution. But they were struggling. There were struggles there. And people create problems. You may have an employee that has worked for you for 20 years, and they leave, and then they sue you. And people don't want to put up with that. So if I have a robot, I don't have to worry about that. I can control that. But you see what's happening? You're losing humanity. You're losing humane things. You're losing being involved in life. And the whole message of the incarnation is that Jesus wanted to say, oh no, that's not the way. Actually, it's to become more human, to be more in relationship, to be able to be out there relating to people and helping people, because we do not need to fall to the temptation of the fact that we need to actually just walk in the margins and be kind of like an afterthought. No, as Christians we're called to be out there and to allow the game to come to you. There are plenty of opportunities. You can live all 14's works of mercy, because you'll have plenty of opportunities, people coming to you. And yes, when you are out there, when you're relating, when you're talking, you do expose yourself to problems. You expose yourself to sometimes people may not like the way you act. People may just ridicule you, make fun of you. If you share your faith, that can happen. But think about it. Who is the most ridiculed person in the history of the world? I would say Jesus of Nazareth. He was the most ridiculed human being ever. From the beginning, as he was persecuted, to all the way to the end, as he was crucified. Crucifixion was the worst kind of death, because crucifixion was not just capital punishment. It was embarrassing the person. It was ridiculizing the person. It was exposing the person to the worst thing that could be there. And that's what he submitted himself to. And that was his story. So if he went through that, why are we so afraid to be ridiculized? I read recently an article related to a sociologist. He has an MBA from Harvard University. And she was talking about those experiences when we are ridiculized, when someone is making fun of us. You've had that experience. I'm sure we all have had some moment in life when someone was making fun of you. You start getting red, you're uncomfortable, you don't want to be there. And of course, sometimes you may feel like hitting the person. Don't do that. Don't hit the person. That can get you in real trouble. And the worse you hit, you can end up in jail. So you don't want to do that. But this sociologist was saying, the best 3 words. When someone is making fun of you, when someone is ridiculizing you. Remember, ridiculizing is not just criticizing you. Ridiculizing you is downplaying your humanity. It's really going at the heart of who you are. And she was saying the 3 best words that you can say when someone is making fun of you. You want to know the words? She says, you look at the person in the eye and you say, are you okay? That changes the whole conversation. Why? Because you're giving a very powerful message. You're saying, you know, what you said is not welcome, but I realize there may be something that is bothering you, and I'm here. I'm here to help. I can help. Are you okay? Wow, what a powerful answer. What a powerful way of saying, I'm not just going to run away. I'm not going to react to it because you're giving more power to that person. But you're going to be out there to reach out, to help, to show humanity, to be part of the solution and not of the problem. And that's what that first reading reminds us of. I'll finish with a story because I think we need to realize that we don't need to look for opportunities to show them. They come to us all the time, every single day, every hour. There's someone out there that you can reach out like that. And I remember when I was in my first parish, there was a lady. She used to come to daily mass. She was there every day. And then as she began to get older and health issues were coming her way, she had to stop going to daily mass. So she had to stay at home. She couldn't come to mass. And I would go and visit her. Once in a while, bring her communion, talk to her. And I remember one day we were talking, and she said to me, Father, you know what? I love when the Jehovah's Witnesses come to visit me. And I said, oh, I didn't know what to expect next. But she said, oh, no, Father, don't worry. You know, when they come to visit me, I can't go out, so I have to stay home. But when they come to visit me, they think they're coming to talk to me. And actually, I'm the one talking to them. What a beautiful way of allowing the game to come to you. See, that's what it's all about. We don't recuse ourselves. We don't hide ourselves. We don't stop relating. We don't try to say, well, you know, you can do it on your own. And that's a great lesson today. So if we want to live the 14 works of mercy, we just have to be attentive, to be open, to keep our eyes open, our hearts open, to see how many people reach out and that we want to be involved. Because the message we have is the same that we heard in the gospel, that He is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through Him. Amen.